It's preparing to live stream.
Right. Okay. We'll give it a second. Oh, sorry for the yawn. I should have had some more coffee.
You're good. I definitely
glass,
need another
Madison.
cup.
Between the glasses and the headphones, it's a look.
Ah, yes. Definitely I'm a cat lady, as one would say. Just, rocking it. You can see it.
We must be recording by now. Yes.
Yes, we are recording.
There we go. Okay. So it's June 10th, 2024. Do you know what time it is? It's 12:04 Eastern. And this is the chapter leaders meeting, and we have two of our favorite chapter leaders here, Madison from Washington and Ian from Brandeis University in Massachusetts. Both of whom I think have got Lumio proposals cooking at the moment. So why don't we start there? Please review for us what you proposed, what the status is, and what comes next. Who would like to go first?
I can jump in. I had a proposal up to hire 2 interns to redo the e-NABLE section of the NIH 3D print exchange. It would be a sprint this summer with an ongoing year of maintenance. The idea would be to move the device catalog into a centralized, more searchable place, with the idea of also refining some of the metadata schema and search and sort functionality, and getting it as up to date as possible and putting new things in there, and also floating the top designs to the top, with the hope that this can go a bunch of different directions. It may stay there and evolve into open source assistive hardware on the NIH Exchange beyond just e-NABLE prostheses. Or if it logically 5 years from now, there's a better central repository, we'll have developed some metadata standards about what people think about when they look for these type of products. And I was super excited to see that yesterday, at the end of the day, Jeremy said it has been funded.
That's great.
So I have to figure out the next steps about receiving that and then advertising a position. And we're in winter or summer break here, so I would probably not be able to onboard someone till early middle July. So this may actually stretch out a little into the fall.
Okay. Well, the answer is you go to opencollective.com/enablefund and you submit an invoice and it will be approved. And then
Cool.
you'll get a payment. And then Ian, what are we going to do to make the most of this opportunity? It's the right time. And we've been diddling with NIH file exchange for, frankly, actually a decade. Can we actually get it right and get it done by the end of the summer, do you think? Is that the time frame you have in mind?
I think because of advertising this job for a couple weeks and getting people interviewed by July, it might be done in September, October, but I think we're moving. And excitingly, NIH recently redid a lot of their redesign, and I think we're timed well with their web development and having some students to fill some content.
Excellent.
My only fear is it took me a little longer to get this together and then get the funding all approved than I was hoping for. And now everyone has dispersed for the summer. So I'm going to advertise this through our career site, but also through word of mouth. And I just don't know how much time commitment people have available starting in July.
Got it. So it starts in July, but it's slated to continue through the academic year?
For a year. So I expect this as like a sprint for a month or two in the summer. That's the bulk of the work. And then some ongoing maintenance for the next year with the goal, like we take a snapshot in that first month or two, get everything ported. And then as things trickle in, maintain it for a year and see if that's a good way to do it. I expect like an hour or two a week for the year, with the idea that some weeks there'd be 0, and then some weeks there'd be 5 hours. like depending on how designs come in on the hub.
That's great. Well, cool. And so Jeremy, interestingly, just sent me an email saying our developers are going to be submitting their time weekly through Open Collective for the website and matching platform project. One of them has submitted the first invoice. Can you please see that this gets taken care of so we know that everything is working properly? To which I reply, absolutely. And Evan, you might want to join the chapter leaders meeting ongoing. Send. Okay. So that's great. So how much total was authorized, Ian?
3,850, I believe.
That's great. That's great. Okay.
So my next
Um,
step is I have to get this advertised through our intern career website locally,
Understood.
and then figure out the funding mechanism, and I'll get a pool of resumes and figure out the money moving in the next couple weeks.
Does it go without saying that your candidates are Brandeis students, or could you entertain Bostonians for the summer?
I was thinking mainly students, but I'd be very open to collaborating with another institution. I reached out to a couple that didn't have the time or capacity. But if you know another student, I think like diversity is the solution to complexity. I'm trying to get different types of people with different types of interests.
Okay.
And I spec'd it for 2 people, but it's 2 people worth of work. I want at least 2 people. I think we could divide and conquer in a slightly different way
Sure.
that meets the proposal guidelines.
All right. You know, I've encountered some wonder-kind children, high school students recently, who are they're not local to you, so they're not good candidates. But you know, the right kid, they don't know what's hard, so they say, "Okay, I can do that." And you know, sometimes they can do extraordinary things. They could become recruits to Brandeis. So I'll keep my eyes
And
peeled.
I think the next time I want to talk about this, I'm traveling for a little bit, but there'll be a e-NABLE education meeting in the middle of July. And I
Cool.
think that's when I'll have the next update ready, about a
Okay.
month from now.
Okay. Well, and thank you for championing this. I'm hoping this is the moment for several such things.
I think it's a great opportunity too for win-win-win all around. Like NIH gets a much better section, e-NABLE gets a sort problem, the students get great experience. And then hopefully it's also like starting to think about the future of how people find these models, which has always been a pain point.
Right. So this website redesign project is obviously relevant. So you should stay connected with, keep us posted, and keep an eye on the work that Morgan and Jeremy are doing on the website redesign. All right, cool. And Cat Person Madison, what's your story?
Hi, yes, so I had a proposal in April, so it's kind of been a minute, but it's kind of focusing with putting efforts to outreach. So, you know, the proposal was to start in DC, you know, where I'm based, and, you know, start, you know, creating outreach material and creating those connections that hopefully can be kind of long-term, you know, partnerships within DC. And so I kind of just looking back, I kind of proposed it as, you know, an outreach position, which myself would, you know, be funded to, you know, put extra time and also resources into it. And then, you know, hopefully what I learn, I can kind of use it as maybe a structure for e-NABLE chapters and organizations, you know, around the country that can, you know, implement, you know, this kind of outreach, you know, program, or, you know, building some structure, you know, to recipients. And I believe I was, you know, not just focusing towards, the 3D printed prosthetics, but also assistive devices. So, hoping that that can kind of tap into
Right.
those needs. So right now, I don't think my proposal was on a vote yet, which I think I was reached out to, just confirm if I, ready to put it for vote. And I read the comments and, I'm thinking of maybe reworking it. I see really good feedback from, the community of, maybe sorry, that's one of my cats. Maybe making this just more
I'm
of a
waiting for the
project.
perfect screenshot on this. I'd like to get the
yeah.
two of you side by side.
I have one here, and for context, I have another one just standing on my desk too for moral support.
There you go. Okay.
There are e-NABLE volunteers that are just here for emotional support. But what was I saying? Oh, but yeah, making maybe this more of a project and just having the funding towards the resources that I need. So I'm also open to doing that instead. But I guess for the group, do you think I should kind of just, move forward with it for a vote or?
Oh, yeah, I think it's time.
Okay.
Allison, you should, if you have some ways of absorbing the comments,
Mhm.
reporting that you've absorbed the comments and put it up for a vote, this is the right moment.
This was my first proposal going through Lumio and doing the vote in the last couple of weeks, and it was a great system. Like the comment period was very helpful. And then the voting period was a little stressful, but it was great to see that roll in. And now that I've seen a full cycle, I think I would definitely encourage people to just jump in. I think Jeremy's been a great guide.
Awesome. No, sounds good. Thank you. I think I just needed kind of this push to to put it out
you
there, because I'm kind of the type of person that wants to, perfect its, proposal. But, I understand that, sometimes just to make things move, just to
Right.
kind of put it in there. So
Right.
I will
No,
make
I
a
think
note
you've exceeded good enough. What you want to do now is be responsive enough and move forward. You're
Yes.
not locked into doing it exactly as envisioned originally. That never happens in practice.
Yeah.
But you will be on the hook to begin doing it and report to us, and we will provide feedback as you go and support it if we can, and off we go. So that's
Awesome.
good. That's good. I can also report that we had a meeting recently where at the last town hall meeting, there was a presentation about creating a big map to enable the future. As you may recall, I've created a big map to save the future, focusing on eco-restoration, but I think we're now on the verge of proposing and funding a project to try to collect e-NABLE stories from all over the world and put them on the map. So I think we are gradually getting ourselves organized to do really good things with the money we so happily got from Arrow Electronics. We're entering a phase from figuring out what is it we should be doing to the phase of saying, let's do it, and let's do it in such a way that we and our funders will be pleased and proud with what we've gotten done. It's a good problem to have. So that's great. Oh, and let's just acknowledge that you are in Washington, D.C. NIH is in D.C. And Ian, I really think that having us all in touch with each other, to the extent that we can make some of these personal connections, which is in fact Madison's mission in D.C. and why she has emerged as the perfect person for that purpose, that would be great. I wouldn't be at all surprised if the people at NIH Madison can help you find your way to the people you're going to want to reach out to. So let's get cooking.
And the 3D Exchange has been an amazing resource for so many different avenues and projects. And the team that runs it are extremely helpful. So I'm happy to make that connection, or you could probably reach out, explain what you're doing, and they would find a time to talk to you.
Well, look, review for me, because I used to be the liaison to that group. Who are the people you deal with at 3D Exchange?
So Megan has been the person there the longest. So this goes back a while. We originally worked with some staff that aren't there anymore on 3D printing molecules. Our first big publication out of the Maker Lab at Brandeis was how to render biomolecules for 3D printing on FDM machines. So we go back to their first like 50 models they had up there. And then we really used them as a huge resource during our COVID for PPE production, where they became the clearinghouse of open source PPE. And we worked with a bunch of other schools to vet those designs. So we weren't huge contributors. We were trying to use them as a source to find things that we could fabricate in community and campus makerspaces when the world shut down. And then this sort of came out the other end. Their website it was on an older architecture, and they've been hiring a whole development team to make it a little more modern and accessible and useful across a bunch of verticals. From the biomolecules to lab equipment to this e-NABLE section. So that's when we really met them again. And Megan is the current team leader, but there's a whole bunch of folks that we've met with a few times. And when we hire these new student interns for that section, we're definitely going to set up another meeting to talk to that team again. And I know that they had hired some contract developers, and I'm not sure. I think the project people have been there for a while now, but the software developers, I think, might be a new team that we would meet some of.
Very interesting. So Megan has been there from day one, although she was in the number 2 position. It's interesting. It doesn't happen that often to see someone stick with a project in that great bureaucracy for so long and to rise to the position of leadership that she has while remaining Madison, a charming and fun person to interact with. So that really is a meeting you should seek out as soon as you can. And I can introduce you as well now that I know that it's still Megan. So why don't you get that proposal?
Megan and
done,
Phil have been the 2 leads, and then there's been some amazing developers like Kristen, and I'm not sure if they're still involved or if there's a different team now. But I would talk to Megan McCarthy and Phil Cruz were the 2 primaries that have been there for a while.
Okay, so I don't know Phil, but I do know Megan, and I think you'll both enjoy talking to each other, Madison. But I think you should get this proposal approved, and then Megan will have even more reason to say, oh yeah, let's get this cooking. That's great. That's great. So I have another topic, but I'm wondering if you guys have other things you want to raise.
Go for it.
Okay, so with regard to the never-ending quest for the collection of data and the stories map, one of the reasons I'm keen on this big map to enable the future is because there have been cases with chapters over the last 10 years, many of which were in various Facebook and YouTube and other blurbs, but have never been collected and collated. This map will hopefully collect them and collate them and affiliate them with chapters. We'll actually begin to get a sense of who and what. But I'm talking to 2 chapter leaders who've been involved in a number of device deliveries, mostly hands, but I think not just hands. What can you give us to begin populating the big map? I mean, I would be delighted if it was just URLs to your existing posts, because those are already out in the public and we can just put them on. But finding them by searching Facebook turns out to be a constant headache. We're going to do it, but being able to start with ones that you already know about would be great. That was the question.
I put in, so the Brandeis group was very active for a bunch of years. You met Liz Washington, who founded it. But the pandemic, it got quieter, and now it's rebooting, partially because we built our intro engineering course with building a hand as one of the 1 or 2 week project sprints. So now we have a bunch of people that have used the hub, created accounts, got the files assembled, an actual product, which we just sent 2 off to Panama for that group to use in their pitch to the government, because we're hardware abundant here. So I don't have anything with new round of clients post-pandemic, but I just put the link into the Facebook, which does have several public clients that agreed to have their images shared years ago. So that's sort of evergreen stuff.
That's great. Well, I'm copying the link, but Sarah is working on a chapter audit right now. And Sarah, if you don't mind, I think we should try to begin to collate those kinds of sources. I guess that, one of the challenges, Ian, is that when one goes through Facebook to, for example, your page, you then wade through all sorts of announcements and advertisements and other things because it's Facebook. But I would imagine that if you go and look at your posts, and we could do this later in this very meeting if that turned out to be a good strategy, look at your posts and then capture the links to the ones we would otherwise have to search through the haystack for. That might be very helpful.
I had no longer have a Facebook account, but I can find all of these resources, and I'm sure I could find students that have control and could sort.
Well, that would be great. That would be great. Thank you. All right, I'm making a note. I'm hoping Sarah is making a note. We're going to haunt you on that one. Haunt Ian Ray chapter stories from Brandeis.
Madison, your website looks awesome.
Oh, thank you. It's so one of our volunteers, he was kind enough to just for free make this very simple website because we never had a website, just to share our story and just have like our email address, our Discord and whatnot. But I kind of use it as a way to kind of tell briefly our story. So you can kind of see, if you click the link, just kind of a few photos of different prosthetic recipients. But then, talking about stories, one of, I guess, our big ones is the kind of coronavirus work or PPE work that e-NABLE DC did with Eric and Marymount University. So that was definitely a big, story, and it really got people's attention on, e-NABLE and who we were. So I think I just briefly mentioned it, but I know in our group, if you need information or Sarah needs information, I have kind of links to, we had some public kind of media coverage on that too, that I think I linked in our GoFundMe when we had it at the time. So we have those, I guess, sources to kind of tell our stories of what we've done.
Using you two as a focus group. So those are beautiful. I see that you have 3 beautiful vignettes on your homepage, but there are stories behind those vignettes, which you could tell us out loud now. You could say, oh, well, we actually, when we posted them originally, we wrote up the story, or something else. What's the right way to go beyond those 3 photographs to have 3 entries for the map?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I definitely think I can, follow up and kind of put more context of just, the process of each, because each one, was different. They had their own, needs. These 3, are kind of our main clients and our past pre-COVID work, but they were very important just because they had different aspects and needs. So, Neurosha, the girl on the left, she wanted a Wonder Woman one. So that's kind of where we, really tapped into making the hand, superhero theme. And then the second one, she wanted to play the violin. So we used e-NABLE France's lovely violin adapter. And then the third one was kind of our first one that I worked with before it was Enable DC, it was Enable Odenton. I'm sure you remember Richard Hudgen, who is the original founder of what our chapter was. But this was the first project I got to be involved with for local Baltimore. So I definitely feel like there's a lot more that could be said for these photos, and this was just kind of a very
Sure.
a simple showing of them, but I can definitely if there's like a form, or I could just email it for the map, whichever works. I guess is that something is how we're going to get their stories, is just if submitting them in some type of form on our website.
Well, that's the question. We can certainly create a form, but one of the interesting things about a form is that you then have to break up information that's already glommed to put it into the right categories, and then maybe that's an unnecessary burden. Yeah. Part of the system we're putting to place is going to have a ChatGPT kind of a thing that reworks the raw material, and it probably can do just as well with narrative information as form information. So I'm wondering whether we should simply agree on an email protocol, one story per email, and then you do something along those lines. Does that sound like a path of least resistance? And then, for example, when you gave me those 3 vignettes, I'd say, yeah, but your webpage also talks about adaptive devices for Braille, et cetera, et cetera. And it mentions certain kinds of events, which I think are good stories as well, so people get a feel for what's going on. Okay, well, to a first approximation, email them to me with the hashtag big map in the subject line. Would that work for you also, Ian?
I like that you're threading it as a conversation. I think that's helpful because these often connect to many things. And I like that you are doing it by keyword so that something else can aggregate those stories later. I think that's a nice way to get it moving low barrier, but then turn it into something bigger over time.
That's the idea. Okay, great. Okay. Oh, well, so, and let me say, anyone can send an email to jshull@enable.org or jshull@gmail.com with a story or with a link to a story that you've already put up. That in itself would give us, give our software developers some clues about where they can find other stories, and we can get going that way. All right, cool.
But the only thing I would recommend is I think this is a great way to start because you can then forward them on. But to have an account that you could, like a delegated account or a shared account that you could give to many people, whoever are developing that, because we probably don't want to like scrape your entire personal email account, but we could scrape an entire shared account.
Right. Well, I can set up bigmap@enable.org in about 10 minutes. Why don't I do that?
That would be really cool.
Okay, I'll make a note.
No, that sounds good. And then so it just all the stories will just be for that email account.
Yeah.
You don't have
that's
to
great.
get
That's-
them lost
that
in
is
your
one, channel we hadn't thought about in the design phase. So I will also share this recording with Patrick, who's working up the proposal. Great. Okay. Well, what else is cooking, chapter leaders?
It does make me think about the storytelling thing. We have this problem at our makerspaces as well. Like, how do we aggregate and tell stories? It's hard to do the work and then tell the story of the work. And I don't have great answers, but I do really like a pull rather than a push. I think so many newsletter submissions are like a Google form and you're expected to push your story out. And most stories don't get pushed out. I've been advocating for like, can we have someone, and you could like even through like I love to have a funding thing, but like someone who interviews people, like a reporter who like beats the streets and goes there and like, oh, I have a lead from that email and now I want to go like really do like the oral history of it or grab like the photos that connect to it. And I've been thinking locally of our makerspace about like, I hadn't thought about a delegated or shared email account as an interesting way to aggregate. That then students can write software and access that account because it doesn't have any PII. It's just like public stories. I was thinking about like I don't know what the platform is, but a Slack, a Teams, a Discord, an instant chat kind of thing, which makes me think like as e-NABLE is starting to move because of funding and organizers and energy and new people, should there be a Slack or a Teams or a Discord or something like a beyond the hub, which is a great forum, but is a different type of conversation. And I don't know if email or instant message or forum is the best way to collect this stuff.
Right. You know, one of the very first things we did on the hub was to try to embed a chatbot. Not a chatbot, but a chat mechanism. We did it for a while. It didn't really work, partly because it was sort of functioning as a talk to people who are on the hub right now. And there were never that many people on the hub right now, but something along those lines that was, well, for that matter, we have spaces, which are an alternative on the hub, which are an alternative way of doing this kind of thing. You know, it's a jungle, right? And there are different niches within this jungle, and different people are comfortable in their different niches. And if you venture into another niche, you're lost and afraid of getting eaten. So I don't know what the right solution is to mix.
I think there is a Discord now that looking on the hub that I am not a member of.
Okay. Well, you might check it out. And this is a good time to remind everyone that we're happy to do those things, but they don't actually get done or work until the person who does them is also the person who then acts as the champion. So it could be that once the big map exists, that we try to build a real-time Tiger team around that, or that someone who has a need for a particular thing tries to build a Tiger team around that particular thing. That's how it'll actually happen. I am not going to create a Discord, and Discord is not my natural environment. But
I think you have one. It would just like maybe a channel that could also be the email and the channel, you know, a lower barrier to get a story in.
would you like to screen share right now and just show us your
Hold
adventure?
on, I'm
Try to
creating an
dip
account.
into that Discord? Because I'm not a Discord neighbor. I'm sure I have a Discord account, but
It's funny because I have for e-NABLE DC, we use Discord just because with our group, it's just we're all comfortable and we are, funnily enough, all gamers. So we have a lot of Discord channels. So it's just really easy to, just add another, Discord space to just like our collection of Discords to access.
okay, so you're a Discord native.
Yes.
How about screen sharing and going to the hub and you lead us down this rat hole?
Sure. Let me find. Unless Ian, you found the link to the Discord. I can.
Where did you see it?
Yeah, it's
Ian?
just on the hub. So I just went into the hub and I'm just creating an account so that I can get in. We also use Discord a lot for fun and work.
So I'm going to the hub also. And how did you discover that we have a Discord?
It was just on the dashboard. So I just went to hub.enable.org/dashboard, and it has the upcoming events.
There it is. Look at that.
There's an integrated Discord that someone already thought of.
Ah,
Son
And
of a
it's well
gun.
integrated. And I wish I had already been using this. I just don't use the hub very well, I guess.
Where is it?
Incredible. And it claims that there are 20
Oh.
members online. And I guess that's because there are certain people who just live with a Discord window open, huh?
Where is the hub Discord? What is
Okay,
that?
so go to the hub, click on dashboard,
Okay.
share your screen if you would.
Well, I just, where is the Discord?
Go to the
Where-
hub. In the
I'm
menu
on
bar at the
dashboard.
top, click on dashboard.
Yep.
On the right, there's a blue band that says Discord. Okay, I'm going to share my screen because no one else is doing it.
Sorry, I'm getting logged in.
Oh, I see. I can't do that, Sarah.
Okay. You should be able to. Try again.
I'll try again. Here we go. So here I am. I click on dashboard. Notice that if it's half screen, you don't see what, but when it's full screen, there it is. Then it says join Discord. But that invitation for me says invite invalid. So. And
I mean,
why
it
is
just looks like but I still don't understand. What is it just showing you who's online? It's just a chat? Like
Yes.
Slack or?
Yes, I'm on
Okay.
the hunt now. As soon as Madison consents to share her screen, she's going to give us a tour.
Yeah. Okay, I'm trying to share a screen. It says host disabled participant screen sharing. So I guess I
Okay.
need access to.
Sarah, that's your job.
Oh, let me see.
You should be able to share it now.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. Okay. Can you see my right screen?
Yes, now there's an
Okay.
enable R&D Discord. Is that the very one that, go to the
Yeah.
hub so we can follow the path.
Oh yeah. So like so many things. So yeah, so I went from hubenable.org and then I saw the
We're not
Discord on
seeing
the
that screen. I'm
Oh,
sorry.
oops. You know what? I think I'm just sharing my Discord.
Right. This
Um,
is
there-
modern tech. This is the jungle I was referring to.
Ah,
There we
okay,
go.
here we
Okay.
go. Yes, so we're at hub.enable.org/dashboard.
Yep.
And then there's a Discord on the right side. So I clicked join Discord. And
you
then
are allowed to continue. Okay, great.
so it tells me to beam me up. Oh, well, I'll just switch to my Discord because that's what happened when I clicked it. It just kind of opened up my actual Discord. So this, I guess, enable one is called enable R&D. And there's already.
Could you put a Discord invite link in the chat from that?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Oh, I'm on it. I just signed in. It looks just like Slack.
Yeah. So
Discord is very much like Slack. Yes.
mhm. Invite people.
Yay, thank you.
Just copy this and put it in. Oops, sorry. Chat.
Cool.
Let me screen share again. Okay, so we're back here. So yeah, it looks like there's voice channel, design channel. I'm not sure.
And we
Who
have
made
current
this?
recent activity.
Let's see. Oh, yeah, it looks like someone had
There's,
joined. Oh yes, some students have joined this year, so it seems like people have been using this.
Okay, I think
Okay.
our communications coordinator and our outreach coordinator ought to figure out how do we take stock of the existing e-NABLE ecology? Because I certainly don't have my arms around it at the moment. Okay, so that's good to know. I will try to figure out why when I clicked the link, it said the invitation had expired.
Mhm.
Mine did too, is being weird, and then when I put it in the desktop app, it let me join.
Okay.
Okay.
Oh.
So someone should. So ordinarily I would ask Sarah to do this, but Sarah hates this shit, as we say. Mm,
Well, I don't, I mean, it depends on what you're asking. I mean, if you're talking
No,
about,
no, I'll tell you what I'm asking. To
Okay.
start with, we have just made good use of 15 minutes of chapter leaders' time to remind ourselves and the throngs who are watching this video in the future that we have a Discord channel and it's active. But we've also discovered that the join Discord link on the hub doesn't function for all of us for reasons that we don't understand. So maybe we should remove that button and just put a little bit of instruction saying use the link that Madison just provided or something. But we should fix that blockage. And that's the one thing I'm asking. Then I hope that Madison and others who are native to Discord will spend some time and just think about at the next chapter leaders meeting, perhaps tell us what we might do to feel more connected to those Discorded denizens, etc.
I
Okay,
know
so-
that like, when I hire interns for this NH thing, I will put them in this Discord.
Okay, good. Good. Great. And you'll save these links. And Madison, is it okay to ask you to try to figure out how to fix the hub? Or advise Sarah on how to fix that link
Sure.
to the hub?
Yeah.
I mean, I have no idea how to fix
Right.
the link. It worked for me, so
Oh, it did work for you.
yeah.
It might be like a browser dependent thing too.
Okay. Okay. If it worked for some people, then I'm going to just first I'm going to see if this link works for me. And the answer is continue see.
I got the same thing, and then I went into my desktop app because I use Discord, have a bunch of other stuff, and I joined a new server, put that link in the desktop app, and that worked.
Okay, so I am testing that. I'm running the Discord desktop app. Discord desktop app, and it is downloading update 1 of 1, which always happens when I start Discord, I guess, because I only start it every 6 months or so.
Once you're
And
in, you have all of your Discord servers on the left. There's a plus at the bottom. You click the plus, add server, and at the bottom it says have an invite already, join server, and then it looks for that invite link.
okay, well, I'm gonna test this. So now it's downloading update 5 of 6. Now it is starting. I'm gonna share my screen here just in case that's useful. Okay, so they've updated their terms of service. All right, so this is my world of Discord. And now you're saying, do what?
On the left side, the plus at the bottom there. Bottom of the
There it
one
is.
there, add a server,
That's subtle.
and then
Okay,
already have a link, the join server button at the bottom of the dialog. Yep, that one.
good.
And then you paste Madison's link
Link
here.
that we just got from Madison.
Looks
I
like
did
you're
find-
already in the server. Like I see the icon for the server.
Well,
left.
that makes sense. Now they also have forum channels. Let's not deal with that. Okay, so the point is, I've just gone through the drill that would have brought me to this very world previously.
Yep.
And anyone who's not already in that world can follow that drill, provided that they have this link, which I'm now sharing on the screen.
And those links are temporary. I think they're like 2-week, but it looks like the hub integration gets you a fresh link. The button on e-NABLE's hub generates that link also.
Okay. But the hub thing failed.
Because it linked directly into the browser, which I don't know why I was having the same problem. Maybe not all browsers are created equal. But Madison's screenshot there with the circle of where to get it on the hub.enable dashboard, I think that join button generates that join Discord button there will also get you the same link you could paste into the app.
Which I would then retrieve from the top of my browser.
Yep. Yeah, and maybe it'll work in your browser, but we just had a 50% hit rate on that.
All
So
right. So
some
I'm gonna go
browsers it
through
seems
that
to work.
drill now to see whether we're coming up with the right solution here. I go to hub.enable.org. I click on dashboard. I widen my screen so that I can see the magic in dashboard. I click on join Discord. And this time it worked because I had Discord running. I'll bet that's the real problem. We beamed the info to your Discord account. You can close this tab or continue with the web version. Well, I'm afraid that this is just sort of the state of Discord. And when you're comfortable with it, you find your way in. And when you're not, you say, I can't be bothered with all of this Discord complexity. And I don't know if we've gotten to the bottom of it. These links and this instruction should make it possible for anyone, even me, to find their way to this right place, but it may not be entirely direct and straightforward. You can probably also open the Discord app and then search for the name of the group, which I gather is e-NABLE R&D. Here I am looking at Discord. Click. It is indeed called e-NABLE R&D. Okay. Well, this concludes that interesting topic of conversation. And I think we've done pretty well. We've reviewed Ian's successful Lumio proposal, our collective urging of Madison to be able to report on her successful Lumio proposal, the impending proposal for the big map to enable the future. I'm going to create bigmap@enable.org and am going to nag Madison and Ian to feed it with interesting little stories suitable for the big map when it arises. And we have unearthed a real-time collaboration space on Discord, which we can use for whatever we want to do. And someone may eventually say, hey, the water is fine, jump in. And then more of us will jump in. Cool. Anything else anyone would like to say before we adjourn?
Thank you,
Okay.
John. Great conversation as always. Madison, great to meet you. Sarah, great to hear you a bit.
Right, and Madison,
Good to see you all.
Madison is soon to meet Megan and other collaborators. Okay, great to see you
Thank-
all. Thanks.